What's up, everybody? Deutschbag here. It's 2016. It's a new year. My first video of the year. I've got a new server. We're gonna have some fun. So let's get to it. This is the Ark Server tutorial.
Apologies,
Alright, so, like I said, I've got a new server here. And going forward, all my server tutorial videos, I'm going to be showing you guys how to do this on the server, because that's the way you should be doing it. You shouldn't be running a server from the box that you are playing on. And I have done that in the past, and we're gonna change that up, which is good for you because that means I can show you a little bit of additional content that I wouldn't normally show you before, and you'll see what I mean by the end of it. So for the Ark server tutorial, there's two things you're going to need, and this is already, if you don't have it already, you're going to need DirectX installed on the PC. I'll link that in the comments below. You're also going to need the Ark Server Launcher, and the reason that you want the Ark Server Launcher is because this is going to make your life so much easier. Instead of using Steam CMD to download and configure the server. So again, I'll put this in the description as well. And the first thing you need to do is you just run the Ark Server Launcher. We're not going to do remote server, so we'll just leave it here at local. You do need to pick the location for your server. So I have a folder on my C drive just called Game Servers. I'm going to make a new folder, and I'm going to call it Ark. So C, Game Servers Ark. That's where we're going to install to. Hit Next. It's going to automatically install Steam CMD for you, which is great. Actually, it looks like it's going to put it right in the Ark Server Launcher. Okay, so this is what it's going to do. Actually, let's do this quick. Just to keep things clean, Ark Server Launcher folder. We're just going to take this, and we are going to put it right in that directory. So let's go to C, Game Servers, Ark. There's no point in separating it all. Okay, so now let's open that back up. And a lot of the settings or the ports and stuff like that are done for you. Well, I should say the two ports. The max player is at 70. You can change all of this. So let's just get a very basic setup going here. Let's call it my cool Ark server. Right? That's cool. So server port, we'll leave that. Query port, we're gonna leave that. Max players, it's only a test, so we'll leave that. No tribute download. I don't know what that means, so we're going to leave it. Server password, let's call it awesome. And what is our admin pass? Let's call banks. I don't know why. Just banks. Archon enabled. You do want this because you want to be able to administer your server, and the only way you can do that is if Archon is enabled. And also Archon will need a port. It's fine to leave that unless it's conflicting with something else. Custom map, we're not going to do that. No total conversion mod. No custom command line stuff that we need to do right now. Motd message of the day. So let's just say thank you for checking out my Ark server tutorial. And this is how long you want that to show up. I believe this is in seconds. It's a short message, so we're just going to drop that down to, I don't know, let's say 20. 20 seconds is good. So right here you have a few other things that you can do, and that's going to be, player location on the map. We'll turn that on. I prefer to have a crosshair, so we're going to turn that on. No HUD. No, we're going to leave that. I like being able to see what I'm doing. Global voice chat. So what I should mention about this, actually I take that back. Let me start over. Global voice chat. If you enable this, the voice chat will work throughout the whole server. I do not want that because I just don't. Third person, if you want to enable third person, you can. Otherwise, you can turn it off and leave it to, or set it to strictly first person. No tribute download. I think that has to do with downloading your characters from other servers. I'm not 100%, but we're for now we're just going to leave it. We're going to leave it on. Now, proximity chat, this is the one I want to throw out there. Most people be like, oh, proximity chat's off, I want to turn that on. Well, that's not really how this option works. Basically, when you turn this on, what that's saying is that you only have proximity chat. So if you turn this on, chat will only work when you're in proximity of other players. It will not work server-wide. So I'm turning that off because I like to be able to chat with everybody on the server no matter where they are. Then we got hardcore mode, and we're just going to leave that off. Now that we have like the basic server configuration set up, you can hit install update. And actually, you could have done this before. I just really wanted to go over this stuff first. So you can see what it's doing here. It's going through, and this is using Steam CMD. It's currently downloading all the files. And if you've ever set up a server before using Steam CMD, or if you've watched one of my previous videos, you're pretty familiar with this. You really don't need to pay too much attention to it. You can see here we're at 16%, and we can just wait until it's finished and talk about some other things while that's happening. So the first thing that we should talk about is the amount of space that this takes up. I want to say Ark is about a 30 gig download, so that is something to keep in mind, that it is not small. Make sure you have enough hard drive space, especially for updates and things. You definitely want to make sure that you have the room. The other thing is that they update this server, or I should say the developers update Ark all the time. Like sometimes that's a couple times a day that a new version comes out. The frustrating part about that is that you have to manually come in here and click this install update button in order to get that update if you are using the server launcher here. I'm going to be putting out a video at some point fairly soon, so it won't be too far out, about how to automatically update your server so that you don't have to babysit this thing, every single day if you want to, play with friends on the server. The other thing is, what else should we talk about? Let's just talk about what you can do here. So the reason that we chose this method of installation is because, for one, you don't have to go into Steam CMD at all. You get to choose these options, and that's all cool. And it does the download for you. The other thing is that if you go into rules and gameplay here, look at all these options. Normally, you'd have to go direct into the text file. You'd have to go into the text file that's in the Ark server directory, and you'd have to, like, if you wanted to change any of this stuff, you had to look for the line and change it. And this is essentially just a prettier way to look at it, I guess. It's a little bit easier to find things. This is XP multiplier. You can, if you want 10 times XP, you can change it up to 10. If you want it up to 100, you can change it up to 100. I'm not going to change any of this stuff because this is only a test to show you guys how to do this. But like harvest amount multiplier, all sorts of fun stuff that you can play with in here. I know one of the things one of the big ones is taming speed multiplier. Wow, I said that kind of weird. Taming speed multiplier. I have on the server I play on, I up this I think to about 3, and it seems like it's a pretty good spot setting this to 3 because you don't have to spend like all day trying to tame those higher level animals or dinos. You can get in, get out, and it's still, for some of those, it's still like a good couple hours, but it doesn't take up a whole day. Anyway, moving on. Player levels. You can add more player levels, I believe. You can see the levels on the side here. And then you can also see the total amount of XP required to get there, how many engrams you have gained, things like that. So you can change all that stuff. Engrams, I think this will list all of the engrams, and then obviously the cost, the level needed to unlock them. You can hide them, or you can remove the prereqs. So this is, like I said, there's a ton of cool options on here. Dino levels, pretty self-explanatory. Dino spawns. This I actually haven't looked at too much, so I can't really explain that one to you. And then raw NI files. And these are the files I was talking about. These will be populated if we are finished downloading. Oh, maybe they are. I don't know, these seem, maybe that is all that's there. So these are just the files that you would, you know, normally edit manually. Let's see, rules and gameplay. So that's under rules and gameplay, and you can click on mods here, and this is a way to add mods to your server. The only reason I'm not going to click that is because it does take a while for the mods to load in that window. So yeah, we're just not going to do that. One other thing I should mention is that, and I'm going to put a little note at the beginning of the video because I didn't mention it, is that you do need DirectX. You also need .NET Framework. I think it was 4.5 for this application to run. So I'll make sure to put a note on that. Just thought I'd throw it out there now in case you got this far and you're like, hey, why aren't things working? So there's that. Let's see what else. Archon, if you've ever used any version of Archon, like normally, let's go back. Normally you see Archon, but because it's Ark, it's Archon. This is just a way to actually admin your server. You can see players connected. You can see the console. As an admin, you can do a couple of admin things, and you can do some scripted commands, alerts, and there isn't a whole lot of information or a whole lot you can do because I don't know. There just isn't. And then you'd configure all of your server settings here, which I'm gonna get to probably at towards the end of this video after we have everything set up and running. So where are we at? Okay, so we are only at 35. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this finish up, and as soon as this is finished up, I'm going to come back and I will go ahead and discuss everything that we need to do to finish up our server install here. Alrighty, so our server has finished downloading all the files. So now we can explain a little bit more about this. Install update. This is what you're going to use to update. It shows you the latest version here and your installed version. Now, sometimes this doesn't update properly, so again, I don't really recommend this method because I like the automatic update script, which I'll be showing in the next video. But this is just, again, this is an easy option for those who find the automatic update script to be a little intimidating or whatever. So usually with this, what I like to do is if I watch the patch notes and I see that there is a later version out, but it's not finding it, I'll just close out of here, relaunch it. It'll notice that there is a new version, and then I'll just hit install update, and it'll pull the update. So now what we can do is all these options that we set here. Whether you set these options here or if you went into rules and gameplay and switch any of these things, in order for those to actually take effect, you have to hit this write INI files, and you'll see that if it completed it. Oh, sorry. You'll see if it completed successfully or not. All right, so we've got that done. We can launch our server now. And if you need to stop your server, you can hit the stop server button. Now this will take a while. I've had it take as long as 10 minutes before to start up, and I'll show you the line that you should see once it starts up. But while we are waiting for that, let's go to Windows Firewall, because we will need to open this up in order for any computer on my local area network to connect to it. We'll also need to do this if we want to have any friends playing on the server. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in, we're going to create a new rule, and we want to allow a program through, which is going to be this. This is the path you're going to want to follow. So program, we'll hit next. Program path, let's browse for it. All right, and it gives you, actually, look at that, it's right there already. So you just want to browse to this server path. So in my case, it's C, game servers, Ark, shooter game, binaries, Win64, shootgameserver.exe. This may differ if you put your server in a different location, but either way, you should find your executable here. Open, next, allow the connection, next. You can leave those checked, next. And we're going to call this Ark Server. All right, and you'll see that pop up here. Now we need to do one more, and the reason for that is that if you want to be able to use Archon from a different PC, on your network. So say you want to put it on your gaming rig because that's the machine you're playing on. Instead of remoting back to your server to manage your server, you can just use it right from your gaming rig. But in order to do that, we need to open up the correct port. So we'll go here, and then we'll go TCP. And where did my server launcher go? Here it is. Archon port 27020. So you want to grab whatever that port is. Just pop it in there like that. Leave it at TCP. Hit next. Allow the connection. Next. That's cool. That's cool. And we can call this Archon. We'll do all caps. No, it's not all caps. Let's do that. Okay, Archon. So then we go back here and we can see, and now we're only doing this for inbound rules. And the reason for that is because you don't need any outbound rules. All the connections, when you're connecting to the server, when you're connecting to the server, they're going to be inbound connections from the other PCs. Same thing for Archon. You have Archon locally here if you want to use it. Otherwise, you'll be connecting from a different PC inbound. And I'll show you how to set up Archon. I'm not going to do it on this machine because I'm actually going to do it on a different machine to show you how that works. So let's look here, and you can see that once your server fully starts up, you're going to see this right here, full startup. And this time it took me 126 seconds. So like I said, it takes a little bit, but it'll start. Should start. So now the next thing that I want to do, because we're all done server side, so the next thing I want to do is I'm going to go back to my gaming rig, and I'm going to show you guys how you can verify that your Ark server is available on your network, and how you can access it with using Archon. So let me switch over and we'll get started. Alright, so I am back at my gaming rig, and I have the standalone version of Archon here, which I will again provide the link in the description. And we can launch archon.exe. So what we can do here is we can go to let's see. No, we'll use this default one. So let's call this tutorial, and I know I already have one in there, so we'll just call this tutorial new. And we'll call server IP. You should know what the server IP is. That's where the server, the Ark server is installed. If you don't, you can open up a command prompt by cmd command prompt and doing a IP config. This will give you, make sure you do that on the server, of course. I'm just showing you on my machine, but IP config, that will give you the IPv4 address, which you need to populate this information. So if you remember, we set our Archon port. Let me just paste that in, not 027. It is 27020. We set our admin password to banks, and we don't really need to set a chat name. You can just say I'm admin. Doesn't really matter. We'll save that to tutorial new, and once you have the connection information saved, hit connect. And you can see that we connected to the server. So that firewall port that we opened up, the 27020, we know that is now working because we are able to connect to our server, and we are able to do things. So if you go to admin, you can do things like save the world. That sounds awesome. Do a world save so that anything that happens on the game map is saved. You can also save the world and exit. You can set the Motd. Very basic stuff, some scripted stuff that you can do, alerts that you can set up. You can view any of the players. You can kick them, whitelist them, ban, remove, and you can also see the console. You can see chat. So the important one that we want to look at right now is players, because once we connect, I just want to make sure that we can see us in there and make sure everything is working properly. So now, what you should do is if you open up Steam, there's an option up here, View Servers, and let me drag this over. And if you look, there are different tabs. click on LAN, and then once you do that, you should see your server there. So the one that we just set up, my cool Ark server, it tells us the version, 0 out of 70 on. That's what we wanted. So you can either, find Ark, hit play, search for LAN servers, or you can do this, which is a much faster method, I believe. Hit connect. It's going to ask us for a password, and remember, we set this to awesome. That's all it is, awesome. Connect. And let's hope this works on the first try. Oh, it doesn't. Oh, or does it? Oh, yep. See, Ark is finicky. Sometimes it just doesn't want to connect for whatever reason. That's alright. We'll try again. Nope, nope, yep, nope. Still don't want to do it. Okay, so let's try it this way. We're going to join Ark. In the server filters, you can hit LAN, and then you should be able to see your server in the list here. So let's give this a shot. All right. Come on, Ark. Don't fail us now. All right, we're getting a little bit further, it looks like. So we'll give it a minute. And we'll continue giving it a minute. If you've played Ark long enough, you know that it just takes a little while. And we're almost loaded. I heard the sound. Here you see this. Thank you for checking out my Ark server tutorial. That's the Motd we set. We'll just call our new guy Joe. I'm cool with that. And it should stay there for about 20 seconds. I don't know how long it's been. I haven't been counting. Oh, there it goes. Okay. That was, I don't know. Maybe it was 20 seconds. Maybe it was a little bit longer. Should have been 20 seconds, though. Alright, so here we are. We are playing on our server that we just created. And just to make sure, let me bring up Archon as soon as I find it. Here we go. And if I hit refresh on here, you can see that I am connected. So I'm connected, and I can do any of these things. And just because I want to show you can do this, we're going to kick my player. And you see I was removed from the game. So I think that's it as far as setting everything up. The one last thing I guess I wanted to mention to everyone is that the Ark Server Launcher that we use to set up the server is a very cool utility. The downside is that after a bunch of research, it looks like the developer has quit developing for that piece of software, so you're probably not going to see any updates. That means that some of the things that you can change, like some of the modifiers, you're probably going to have to do manually in the future. I just like it because it's a great way to get your server started quickly and easily. It gives you a nice view of everything, all of the main things that you would want to change, and maybe going forward, I will have another tutorial that shows you how to manually edit those INI files, but I think the biggest thing is just to have manual updates for the server, because once you have that and you have Archon installed to manage your server, you don't really need the other thing other than, the Ark Server Launcher other than installing. So, stay tuned for my next video that will have the automatic update script that works beautifully. And if you like this video, if it helped you out, remember to give me a thumbs up. Remember to comment, rate, which would be the thumbs up that I just talked about. I don't know why I said it twice. And remember to subscribe. Thanks for watching.